Merylin and his group entered an area outside of the main Fey court. Merylin looked at Aliana and said, "Well, your magic is getting stale. You missed the council chambers." Aliana looked perplexed. "No, I didn't. I had the right place." She said before being cut off by a councilman in robes and regal attire, but looking very human. He said, "You're here because you brought him," and motioned towards Arthur. "No humans allowed," he said with a huff of aristocracy. Aliana explained, "This is no mere human, he's the chosen one." The councilman scoffed. "Sure he is, and I'm a fairy godmother." His laughter ran short as Arthur brandished his proof, and the sword engulfed itself in flames as he held it above his head. Oh my. He stammered with both fear and awe on his face as he examined the boy in a new light. "We need to see the council now," Aliana said with urgency. "I'm afraid they're in a special session right now." The councilman said Merylin lost his patience and pushed the councilman aside. "Oh, move it, you old trough nobbler." And he walked into the Fey council chambers. There in the room were both councils of the Fey and Pixies in discussion about many subjects, almost yelling at each other. However, they went silent when they saw Arthur, and some whispered, "What is a human doing here?" Merylin was the first to speak up. "This human is the chosen warrior who wields the demiurge blade." And with that, Arthur showed them his sword again. They all froze in stark terror. "Why have you brought him here?" The head council of the Fey asked, and Aliana said, "To prove to you, Father, that we have nothing to fear from this chosen warrior." She turned to Arthur and said, "Tell him your idea." Arthur then explained to him his concept of the round table, and they listened intently. When he was done, the council asked him where he came up with such a concept. And he then told him the warrior of the light had sent a message that instructed him to make his kingdom by this concept without telling him, but by leading him to discover it himself. Aliana's father was the first to say he was lying, but Merylin spoke up and said, "No, it's true. I've seen the warrior and his king, and have seen his kingdom. I swear upon my blood that I speak true." Now to a pixie, when they say something like this, it is the highest crime imaginable by their kind to be lying about what they say. So the council took his statement with a credible opinion. The council muttered among themselves for a moment and then said, "So let me get this straight. You said that this boy, this incarnate of the Dark One himself, proved himself worthy by the artifacts and pulled the sword from the stone, met the Dark One himself and was offered a place by his side, which he refused. Then this undying mischief seeker, thrice cursed ancient father, then appeared and said the warrior of the light sent him with instructions on how to live by his king's ways that appease him, and that this act would build a truce between them in which he would be his ally against any peril his kingdom faces. And to back this up, Merylin, you say that the king of the warrior's kingdom told you this himself prior to Pan's father appearing to tell you this way. What proof do you have?" And Merylin pulled a shield from his tunic. "We have this." And he threw it on the ground before the council. There in runic writing it stated the sovereign authority of the king of the light, and showed a small mural of the light warrior's legend. And inside the mural was 12 descriptions that were called the divine virtues at the top of the scroll image, containing the virtues emblazoned on a gold-rimmed shield and tempered by a metal never seen before, perfect in its craftsmanship. The councilman murmured some more and then said, "We find your account to be true. Chosen One, we have waited a long time for your return. Will you fulfill the prophecy and defeat the evil that overshadows our people now?" Arthur stepped forward without reservation. "Yes, I will. To do this, however, we must find the Order of the Dragon, for we fear my past self may be trying to revive an old and dangerous ally of his, one called Singe." With that, one of the councilmen lost his nerve and screamed out, "Oh, mother of the white oak, not him." The High Council, for the Seelie Council, spoke and said, "If what you're saying is true, then time is of the essence. I will take you to the Order myself." Aliana looked baffled. "Really, Father? I have never seen you accompany anyone before, are you sure?" The old sage looked at her and said,
Do you know how long I've waited to hear those words come from your lips, my child? Come, let us go. Besides, the Druids would never believe you unless I accompany you." And the rather short but noble-looking council of the Fae gestured for the portal to open, and they walked through. They entered a large cavern held up with large monolith-like support structures, and all around them were men hooded in red cloaks, each of them bearing the mark of a red hand with a circle around it, and a triangular symbol in the palm, with an eye in the triangle's center. "We've been expecting you, in fact. You're late," one of the Druids said. The sage spoke in a friendly tone. "As I would suspect, you have lost your skills at all. I'm sure then you know who these people are." The Druid took off his hood to reveal a man with long black hair. He spoke and said, "Of course I do. One could never forget the face of the most beautiful princess ever to grace my eyes with her stunning presence," he said as he kissed the top of her hand. Merlin looked ready to fly off the ground towards the Druid. But then, as if anticipating his reaction, he turned to Merlin and said, "And you must be her forbidden lover, Martin, is it?" He gently acknowledged his presence with a short nod of his head. "It's Merlin," he said, and the Druid simply replied, "My apologies." Then he looked at Arthur as if measuring him up. "And you are the nightmare returned in the flesh, yes?" he asked, and Arthur replied, "So I've been told." The Druid said, "I take it you're here for the trifecta Dragon Slayer spear. First, though, as keepers and collectors of mystical artifacts, I cannot help but ask, may I see with my own eyes Archidisham, the legendary blade?" Arthur pulled the sword from its scabbard, and its blade lit ablaze. The Druid exclaimed, "Magnificent!" He looked at the weapon with a bedazzled glint in his eyes. "This blade is something of a myth made real. Most have only heard of it, but never seen it. Thank you for this memorable experience." The Druid turned to walk away as Arthur returned the sword to its sheath. "Now come," he said, "we must go and meet with the Archangel who guards it." They all said with astonishment, "An Archangel?" Merlin said with a reply that was without surprise, "Why does this feel like déjà vu?" They descended down a narrow stairwell until they came to a sealed door. The Druid waved his hands and opened the locked seal without even speaking a word. Arthur asked Merlin, "I thought the church looks down on magic as an unholy thing." Merlin shrugged. "So did I, lad." The Druid stopped ahead of them and said, "We are here." The dark room they were in suddenly lit up, one torch after another, until the entire room was lit. There in the center stood a tall, blonde-haired man with a fair-looking face as gentle as the breeze. His features were soft and almost feminine, and he had curly, short-cut hair. The most noticeable feature, though, was his wings, large and white. The Archangel spoke with a soft tone that made one feel as though he was safe, like cradled in a mother's arms. "Greetings, young Arthur. I am the Archangel Gabriel, one of the 3 guardians of the trifecta spear. It was I who dealt the killing blow to the ancient dragon. Together my brothers and I cast him down from the heavens and into the bottomless pit where he was enchained for 1,000 years." Gabriel stood with an emotionless expression on his face. My other brothers, Michael and Raphael, defeated, singed soon after the defeat of the Dark One. Let me tell you a tale of a heavenly conflict. Once long ago, when your former life had battled to siege against the heavens by breaching the gates we had built here on earth, he was eventually defeated there upon the mountain of bones near the city of Jerusalem. After his defeat, one of his main generals, some call him Kingu to mask, saying his true name, Singe, the Dragon Lord or Tiamat. The dragon rose up from the gates into the clouds, into the very entrance to paradise. We thought it was the fallen one, Lucifer, come to seek revenge for our betrayal of our brother due to fear of a prophecy. Yet we could not sense our brother in this thing that rose against us. It mocked God, claiming it held the power to end him, but he didn't have the power to stop him from doing it. None of us took to the skies to defeat it. With spears in hand we struck at it, but could not pierce its skin. The dragon then rose up above us from the clouds and was diving to strike God, but then Michael leaped in front of him and jumped to meet the creature in midair. He fell short of him and thrust his sword above him as the dragon passed overhead and split him down the belly. Raphael then tossed me the spear, and I drove it into the heart of the beast while it was still exposed. Then Michael grabbed hold of that old dragon to cast him from the heavens, and he did. Riding on the back of the beast all the way to the ground, they crashed into the earth in the mountains north, past the gates of the Amorites, and created a gorge when they hit the surface. Michael laid hold of that dragon and fastened a chain around him that separated the mortal realm from the bottomless pit of the infernal dominion. We sealed it with arcane angelic magic and locked him in the sediment rock between the pillars of creation. Gabriel looked at Arthur and said, "Do you know why we are helping you? Young boy king, Arthur?" Arthur looked confused because of how bright you are to us. Gabriel explained, "You see, the light of faith can be seen by us. It illuminates around you and through you, and you are bright to us. We know that God is with you, so you are friends to us. What we do for you, we would do for any we call friend." Then Gabriel opened a portal above them and reached inside and pulled from it a glorious-looking spear laced with gold lining and made of pearl. It had one large blade on the tip with two smaller blades along the side. Gabriel hit a switch on the handle, and the two blades along the side spiraled around it as they shot up, extending it into a triple-bladed weapon. Gabriel said, "The blades are infused with a unicorn horn, the only thing known to be capable of piercing dragon hide." Arthur looked at the spear in awe. "I was never very good with aiming with arrows." Aliana spoke up, "I'm quite proficient with arrows. May I carry the trifecta, Arthur?" Arthur smiled gently. "Of course. How good is your aim anyway?" Aliana smirked and drew her bow and arrow within a blink and fired it at the druid behind her, missing his head and pinning the top of the hood he had over his head to the wall behind him. From across the room, the druid nervously replied, "Well, that's enough proof for me." Everyone laughed, even Gabriel.
Merylin, Aliana. Arthur and Pan sat outside of the Druid Cove strategizing their next move. The Druid who led them into the tunnels appeared and said, "Gabriel asked me to tell you if you should ever need him, just ask around for Saint Germain. He would accompany you on your journey, but he must remain here for now." Arthur looked puzzled. "Why, what is here?" The Druid replied, "Even we are not sure. Some say his brother is slumbering here." Merylin looked shocked and asked, "His brother? Which one?" And the Druid replied, "The one no one talks about, the fallen one, Lucifer. Whenever evil begins to rise in the world, he comes here to watch over him and make sure no one disturbs his sleep. For some reason, evil seems to be drawn to him, and they always seek some insane idea that involves their benefit by including him in their plans. So he comes to make sure their desires don't make them try anything stupid. That's what we have managed to piece together. He never tells us anything, only that we are here to serve the will of the great I Am." Aliana was puzzled by this term. "I've heard that mentioned before. Why do they call him the great I Am?" And the Druid looked surprised. "Don't you know? It's written around the shield you carry." Merylin took out the shield and said, "I didn't recognize the writing style. You can read it." The Druid looked at Arthur in a confident tone. "Of course, it's in an angelic script." The Druid eyed the outer edge of the shield and began translating it. "I am from the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning and ending of all things, maker of the heavens and the earth, creator of all that was, is, and has yet to come. I am, therefore, I am." Pan looked puzzled. "So that is what it says, but what does it mean?" The Druid looked at Pan and said, "It is God's proclamation of his authority as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. There are none higher or greater than he, for he made it all." Then Aliana spoke up. "It's simple logic. Who is there that can possibly claim to be anything greater or higher in authority than him? To question it is a show of inferior understanding.
This seal surrounding these ways to live by is his seal of nobility. Pan reflected on this. Ah, I see. Arthur looked at Aliana and asked, so we have what we need. We know where he is going, so where do we intercept him to stop him from reaching his goal? Merlin said, well, he'll probably try and awaken Singe after he secures his Calderon. But he won't risk an open conflict with the world until that sword is in his hands again. So we should try and muster our strength for a direct surprise attack on him before he departs for the pillars of creation. Arthur nodded his head. I agree. Let us get some good rest and food tonight, and we'll depart first thing in the morning to ambush him in his fortress. I think it's the one move he wouldn't be expecting, and while he is weakened without his magical items, we just might be able to overwhelm him. And with that, they prepared for a festive night and a harsh red dawn sky in the morning.
Host, Ted Jet, Enferrer, Crisis Fair, Get Dear Shanty, El Sophia's, Shepherds, Defense, I am